Hey, don't you hate those people that are super judgmental? You know, those ones that every little thing, they're like, oh, they're coming down on you for this, or they're just super, super uptight about dumb things that don't matter, or they're just disparaging everyone that comes their way and tearing them down. And you sit there and you look at those people and you think, what a horrible person. You're being judgmental right now. You are falling into that trap. If you're like me and you're thinking about those people and you have them in mind, you're being judgmental. And you're calling out the very thing that you hate and doing it yourself. We get caught in this trap all the time. We're bothered by it when it happens to us, and yet we so casually throw it out on others without ever thinking about it. So why does this happen? Why are we so judgmental? Let's talk about that. It comes down to the makeup of our brain. First of all, our brain is cut into two hemispheres, the right side of the brain and the left. The left side of the brain, they have discovered, is the place that allows us to interact with the real world. It is the logical portion of our mind that divides everything into very clear boxes. It is the thing that builds the stereotypes through which we can navigate the world on these tropes that allow us to make quick decisions and act without a lot of energy, because I know when some person looks like this, I like these things. I know in general, right? You make these generalities, and your brain is constantly allowing you to live in a space of judgment so you can get through your day without having to think a whole lot and waste a lot of energy on things that maybe are superficial that don't matter. You can save your energy for that. And your brain is designed to be this way. We too often, though, fall into the left hemisphere and trust the judgment of that, because that side of our brain, the logic, all that comes with that, we believe so deeply, we sometimes fail to bring those judgmental decisions back to the right side of the brain, which is more open to nuance, more open to all of the things that revolve around a choice or an action or a decision, that allow us to see a person for who they are, not necessarily how they're showing up in that moment. And then your judgment can drop away. But we too infrequently let that push and pull of our brains move from judgment to consideration. And then we fall into that trap of being the judgmental assholes that we were making fun of at the very beginning of this dialogue, right? So the second thing, when you recognize that you have these two hemispheres of your brain, one that's built for your survival, that's step number 2. This is built for your survival because of the way the brain works. When you fall into a space where you must make a quick decision because your life depends on it, war, maybe you're driving down the road about to get into an accident, something's happening and you're just reacting out of instinct, boom! That is the space where your judgment, your brain's ability to make quick judgments and decisions is crucial to your survival. You will fall into habitual behaviors. You'll act in ways that are known to you, so your body doesn't have to think about it. You can get out of that danger as quick as you can. Somebody surprises you, you jump, pull away, protect yourself. That is a survival instinct that is quick judgment. You're not really analyzing the situation. Maybe it was just a loud noise and you jump and protect yourself. I've literally had situations where a flash of something startled me. I put my hand up and I block a ball or something that was thrown at me because I reacted. I've also jumped and had absolutely nothing there to jump at, right? So these are the ways our brains work. They are instinctually, the default is survival always. So you're constantly fighting the left side of the brain, the reptilian brain that says, hey man, we're going to take all these quick judgments, these boxes, these defined things that we know to be real in a general way, and we're going to react on those if we feel like we're in danger. If you don't have danger, imminent danger pending on you, you have the opportunity to take that initial judgment You see this guy walk in, he's got tattoos all over his face and neck, and you're looking thinking, oh my gosh, what a mean, hard-looking person. That may be your perception based on all of the characters that you have seen play criminals on TV. But maybe for the first time in your life, you're meeting this person face to face who has these tattoos. And if you can step away from that judgment, you get to see a different concept, right? This is the right to left side of brain. So we have, as humans, a real desire to act with certainty. Our brains want, the left side of our brain, it wants that box. It wants that clear definition. It wants to be able to look at this guy and say, I know you're a bad person because you have these tattoos all over your face. The truth is, nothing is that concrete. Nothing is that easily defined. The whole experience of life, the nuances of it, are far, far greater than that finely defined way of living. If you're living in that space, I feel sorry for you because it's a world of judgment and smallness that is tough to break out of. But if you can learn how to step out of that need for certainty, to consider, hey, I see this guy. I know I've seen lots of movies that say this guy's bad. But what is this guy like? Hi, how are you? And he meets you with a warm smile because you're treating him with kindness, and then you're like, whoa, this is new for me. What is going on with that really warm smile coming from somebody that I think should be a violent, horrible criminal? I'm making all this stuff up, right? I don't think this, but we have reactions to things that stand outside of the tropes of our life, right? And so that thing that we are so certain of, it is the survival mechanism that allows us to take action when we need to. But if we have the space, move back into uncertainty. Get curious. When you're in a place of curiosity, now you're in a better space to meet this person without judgment. But that initial judgment is your first reaction. It's a survival instinct. It's okay. Allow it to be there. Witness it. Recognize it, acknowledge it internally. Don't say to this guy, you look like a criminal. Well, some people will, but I suggest you don't do that. You can think that in your head, and then you can say to the person with curiosity, hi, how are you doing? And see how they respond. Give them the opportunity, out of curiosity, to show up in a way that may be different than your stereotype in your mind, your judgment in your mind. Final, fourth thing to do to step out of a space of judgment is really to practice this concept that I learned from Kristen Neff in a book, Self-Compassion. She calls it Me Too. She says, whenever you see something that bothers you, that you're judging quickly, when you see yourself calling somebody out and saying, or thinking in your mind negative things, making judgments that are disparaging of another person or another situation, reflect on how you yourself do those same things in some situation. And then say to yourself, me too, I do that too. I'll tell you a story. I got a few stories like this because I do this all the time. I catch myself making swift judgments that are harsh and critical and unwarranted and mean towards people all day, every day. It's the nature of my brain. It's the nature of your brain too. I proved that when we started. But when I started out, doing this, I wasn't really aware of it. But that negative energy would hit me and I didn't like it. And it particularly happened when I was driving. I almost virtually have no road rage anymore because of practicing this. I drive down the road, stuff happens to me, and I think of the time that I myself did the same thing. I have cut people off by accident. I have made mistakes in traffic and done stupid things by accident. And there's all kinds of ways that I've messed up. And people have been mad at me, and I also have been mad at people for doing dumb things. So I was driving down the road. I got to, it was a green light. No, sorry. It was a red light, and I was turning left. And there was a person going the other way, cross traffic, and they were trying to turn left, but they were in the middle of the intersection waiting for the car flow to stop so they could turn left and get out of the intersection. Well, as the traffic flow goes, the light turned red for him, and he was still in the middle of the intersection, but for some reason was unaware that the light had turned red, and so sat there for probably 2 to 3 seconds beyond when the traffic had stopped. It was now safe for him to turn, and he was blocking me from going out and turning left in my own lane. And my first thought was, in all honesty, this is the words that came to my mind: what a fucking idiot. That is what I said in my mind, right? And in that very moment, the anger filled me. I felt it, right? That judgment that comes, like disdain. And then I realized I have done this too. I have been stuck in traffic, watching the cars flow, thinking, when will I be able to go? And then it stops, and then I'm wondering if I'm still safe to go. And then I look up and I realize, oh, the whole flow of traffic stopped because the light changed. And I've made people wait, and I've had them honk and flip me off and be angry at me too. And the moment I said, I do this too, all of that disdain, that anger left. And I made my left-hand turn after waiting 3 seconds. It didn't ruin my day. And I was able to proceed in a state of calm, feeling good, and not feeling overwhelmed with judgment of something that I didn't need to be judgmental about. But I also know that those judgments, they come. And it's okay for them to come as long as we take them back and get curious and think, how do I show up like that? And I guarantee you may not do the exact same thing that this other person's doing, but the nature, the tenor of what it is they're doing right there that bothers you, you have done yourself. Don't be so quick to judge. Allow yourself that pause, that moment after you have judged, to say to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm doing the same thing too. It'll change the nature of your heart. It'll change the nature of how you meet people. And you won't have to deal with rage. That's what I recommend. If you like that, go ahead, stick around, watch this video on how to feel worthy of love. Judgment is something that keeps us from feeling worthy. I'd love to know what you do to avoid judgment. Like, subscribe, follow. I'm James Burnham. Thanks for joining me.